Hi, I'm Austin Eartham. Welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast. I'm here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing my stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to episode 114. Happy to have you guys here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to have a short but quick one today. Got a couple good things here in this springtime that I learned where I saw God is one of those things. And we are going to start right now. So here we go. Quote of the week this week is by Alex Hormozi. I thought it was really interesting. I think you can take it two ways, and I will explain both those ways. So here we go. The quote is, "The scoreboard of life only counts how many wins you have, not how many times or how long it takes you to get there." Right? So I'll say it one more time. The scoreboard of life only counts how many wins you have, not how many losses or time that it took to get you there. Right? So in the end, the point of the quote is that no matter how hard it is, if you get to the top, you reach success, that's what matters. People don't count the losses. They only see that you have made X amount of money, you have this many accolades, you have this many periods or times of success. They don't say, oh, he won 30 times and lost 15. They just say he made it to the top, he won 30 times. On the flip side of that, though, I can see it how people might not like it because they say, well, they lost 15 times, so they're really not to get as a head coach. Yeah, they won 3 championships, but they also lost 10. Or they've been there for 30 years and they've only made it to the playoffs 50% of the time. So yes, they've got their 50%, but they also didn't get their 50%. So people want somebody who has a better record than that. But I really like the positivity that it takes on into it. And no matter what, there's going to be lessons in life that you are going to likely have to deal with and go through adversity in order to reach the peak of success. So I think it's really important for us to see that side of things and know that losses are lessons and that you learn a lot more from that than you do your successes. That success is hard, success takes time and a lot of effort to get there. And then when we do get there, we should celebrate that success. So I really like that quote, taking the positivity of it. Where I saw God this past week it was super nice this past weekend. Sunshine, 80 degrees, middle of April. We will take sun, seems like a summer day, and do some kicking things outside. And I don't love all the time I had to spend outside and get sunburned, but I also love it because it's kind of a grind. And afterwards, that sun, drains you. And then at the end of the day, having a nice meal with my family Sunday night, relaxing, watching some TV, and feeling the, I guess, so-called success of the day, winding down in a nice air conditioning room, feeling the breeze of the fan. And it makes me feel a lot more accomplished. And I love the springtime where it's getting kind of hot, and summertime, and you put in that work and you feel like you reap the rewards. Just like after having a hard workout, you feel like you did something that was worthwhile or challenging, and you met that challenge. Same type of feeling to me. So I really see God in that. I also get worried about it raining all the time for my kicking sessions. So it's nice to get there and back safely, as well as have good weather. So I appreciated that a lot. All right. Mainly 4 things I want to talk about this week. None of them are going to be that long, but I think they are very good insight, especially one that I will hit on in just a second, which is the name of this episode, which is Acceptance Leads to Freedom. So number 1, I think I've been looking at different ways of getting better and also kind of helping the community. So one thing we've started at our school is to the specialists, so-called specialists in quotes, because other people are starting to come now, do some workouts on Saturday morning, just a little bit different. All sports can do it. We'll do kicker specific stuff for warm-ups, and then we do a CrossFit type workout. And then I try to have the kids either be in teams or they try to beat me in the workout. So 1, it pushes me, 2, it pushes them. So in the summer, maybe having them come over and do an extra workout, or getting together somewhere and doing a fun workout that's also challenging, because again, they're getting better, I'm getting better, having that fun competition, also that camaraderie. Last time we did the podcast, I talked about prom and how it was nice to meet with a small group of teachers and get to know them a little bit more. I think that's the same thing with players, and they build that trust in you as a coach if you spend time with them and you challenge them, but you know that you're going to love on them as well. And in the meantime, it's getting me better for my fitness goals and what I want to accomplish, as well as them. So it's really a win-win. The hard part is finding time to do that. but you got to make it a priority just like you would in any other time. So it's got to be on the schedule, and you got to tell other things no in order to make it happen. And we don't want to overwork as well. That's why we got to keep it fun, and we got to know what is the right time to go hard and when's the right time to take it easy. So one of the things we're really focusing on is not going a bunch of heavy weights because they do that during the week. Can we get some cardio in there with some body weight exercises and really move our body with a little bit of weight in order to maximize the growth for that hour and a half? So I think that's something that we should all be thinking about in our lives. What can I do in my organization to help me reach my goals, but also bring everybody else up in the organization to make it better as a whole? Because a lot of times we think, okay, I need to do this, that I need to watch people do this, I need to sit in on this meeting, but what can we all do at once and get a 3-for-1 all at one time? Right? Maybe that's some collaborations, maybe that's a Friday night outing with the team, whatever that might be for your organization. Again, you don't want to study, but you want to hang out with a friend. Okay, maybe you study and hang out together. That's a good way to get two things in one, and you still get to be with each other, hang out, go to a coffee shop, whatever, and you still get to learn your material. So I think anytime you can think of how to kill two birds with one stone is very beneficial for whatever walk of life you are referring to. Number 2, this is the big one in the name of the episode. Acceptance leads to freedom, and that is because I was watching a CrossFit documentary with Matt Fraser that I've never seen. Just some guy made it back in 2017, which is where Matt Fraser basically dominated the CrossFit Games. And one thing he said in his training is it really comes down to acceptance. That I need to accept that it's going to be hot outside. So the example he used is he was doing a run, and one of his trainers, Chris Hinshaw, who's a great kind of ultra marathon, Ironman type endurance coach. He came over to Vermont and he put Matt through this workout, and Matt, the times he had to run was like, holy cow. And he's like, can I do it? And Hinshaw was like, yeah, I think you can do it. So Matt's like, all right. And he basically said, this is going to suck. It's 1:00 in the afternoon. It's 90 degrees outside. But the worst thing that could happen is I don't hit my times or I fall over and I pass out, and then the workout becomes easier. He said, no matter what, I'm going to hurt afterwards, but I can decide how much that hurt is going to be worth it. Right. So we always think about, I know kids all the time think, what if I make a mistake? It's something I talk about in sports psychology a lot. We're freedom from worry, right? We're always worried if I make a mistake, what's my team going to think? What's my coach going to think? What's my parents going to think? Am I going to get recruited anymore? I'm not very good. And that kind of dwindles down the confidence. But if we just accept, okay, the worst that could happen is I throw an interception. The worst that could happen is I airball this shot. The worst that could happen is I fail the test. Okay, if I fail the test, what work do I need to do to retake it? If I throw an interception, okay, what can I learn from that play so that next time I throw that ball, I don't throw an interception, right? Or I complete the pass would be better verbiage. If I miss this kick, why did I miss it? How can I be better prepared for that next time? Right, so the worst, if I miss the lift, okay, what do I need to do to get stronger? Is it my pull? Is it if you're talking cleans, is it my pull? Do I need to squat in it? What do I need to do? I need to shrug harder? Do I need to keep the bar closer to me? What is it in the process that made it so the so-called worst outcome happened, right? And you just got to be okay with suffering, right? If you can accept it, like I said a few weeks ago, if you can just accept that it's gonna be a long day at work and you got a lot to get done, and you just start going at it, that's the best way to relieve that stress, because you're working towards it, and just knowing that it's going to be a long day, setting yourself up for it, and embracing the suck. Right, that's a Navy SEAL kind of term. There is, you got to embrace the suck over and over, because really the worst that can happen likely isn't going to happen, and if it does, it's somewhat in your control to how you react to it. So Matt basically just said, hey, you know what, it is what it is. I'm going to go hard. I know I'm going to hurt, but I'm going to make the hurt worth it, and I'm going to be that much better, because the ultimate outcome goal that I want is to win the CrossFit Games. So can I hurt more than other people, smartly hurt I should say, in order to be successful in, I think it was 56 days at that point. So I think acceptance of the worst case scenario is something that you all need to play out in your head, especially if you're tired, because it all will pass, right? He says, this time will pass. My hurt will pass. My lungs being on fire will pass. All right? If you're sick, you got a virus. We're talking in our science class today about viruses. the virus will pass, right? There's not a lot you can do to it, so you might as well suck it up and get through it, because that's the only choice you have, right? If you want to keep going on the path to success, or you want to crumble and not try. That it's really up to you, but your reaction and your actions determine what path you go down. So I think that's, again, that's the most important part of this episode, in my opinion. It can be related to any walk of life. So go ahead and take it to your own. I know that I'm going to try to use it in my workouts. I already kind of did this past weekend. Had a bad or low HRV in recovery, but still went out and did my 800s. It was not the best time I was hoping for, but it was the best that I could do on that day, given the circumstances. Then we can think, okay, what I need to do better the next day. Had a heavy lift, stayed up a little too late, didn't eat healthy, all that kind of stuff. I can make a little better so that Saturdays I don't have to suffer like that again, or I can suffer with a better time at least. Number 3 is also from the Matt Fraser documentary, and he talks about when he was getting second place at the games instead of first place. And he said that a lot of people were reaching out to him thinking he was doing great, but the second year he got second is basically because he didn't try, didn't care, and he just thought he was good enough. And he ended up not being good enough and only got him second place, which for some people would be very happy, but for his level was not. So he basically said, like, in catastrophes, what people are behind you, who's there for you? Because when you're winning or people think you're doing good, everybody wants to be your friend, right? You just get drafted in the NFL, everybody's like, yeah, hey, let's hang out, congratulations. When I was with the Chiefs minicamp, I had people all over that I talked to once or twice, or just friends on Facebook, or knew me from a class in college, reach out to me and say how cool it was to be on their favorite team, right? But then when I didn't make the team, those same people didn't reach out and say, hey, if you want to talk, I'm here for you, blah, 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 right? So keep that inner circle super small, because really the people who matter are who's going to be there in the catastrophe. And if they're going to stick around, those are the people that you need to spend your time with and build your esteem around, build who you are as a person, build your character, let your kids hang around, coaches hang around, your little group, because again, going back to point number 1, you want to benefit everybody to get better. If you're spending time on people that aren't going to benefit you and them, then we're just wasting time. So think about who would be in your inner circle, right? If you need people in your wedding party, people in, if you had a birthday party, you can only invite 10 people, whatever it might be, your family, and maybe some family gets cut even. Who's going to be there at your worst times that you need to support you? And the last thing I want to talk about is the Masters was this past weekend. It's my favorite week of the year. One, it's 4 days long, or 5 days if you include the par 3. Super Bowl is only 1 day. Olympics are pretty good, and World Cup's great as well. But I love the Masters because you get it every year. I love green grass. I love the sunshine. I love the atmosphere. And I think I learned some more of the details of the Masters, that they leave a lot of money on the table. For instance, they let ESPN and CBS have the media rights for free, but they get to control it. There's only certain people allowed at certain times. You can't have your cell phone, all this kind of stuff. There's a bunch of rules with it and things that have gone way back when that somewhat I don't agree with, somewhat they don't make profit on, which I think is also fine. I'm not a big corporation person, but I think they do a lot of things differently than today's society is the key. But the details that the Masters do for their event is what makes it so great, right? That's why you inculp everybody's, I guess, eyes and ears on the second week in April. And also thinking about that, we talk about focus, concentration, think about the players, right? So not only do the groundswork have things to make the greens wetter or drier, fairways, cart paths, all that kind of stuff, even the detail of wrapping everything in green, putting the things on the course in green to gel, spending money on the landscaping, look nice, all that kind of stuff. The players' attention to detail is also key. So it's obviously the first major of the year, and get a lot of money for the win. It's super important. It's the so-called Wimbledon, or the prestigious thing in golf. But each round usually takes like 6 hours. And that's a long time to be focused. Talking with your caddy, walking up the course, being in the sunshine. It can be a long day to focus on roughly 72 shots. And that's 72 shots, and it takes you about 2 seconds to swing the club, to set up and swing it, if you really think about it. So you're only talking like 3 minutes of total time to so-called really have to focus in your process. Now, there's obviously before and after that's longer than that, but the detail that you have to do and how you can lock in for 4 days really takes a lot of practice, right? So people are going out there after rounds, shooting, getting strength conditioning and eating healthy, getting their sleep at night, walking the course, writing things down. Everything they do or observe is to help them play better in those 6 hours, right? And even in the rounds before that, rounds 1, 2, and 3, it's helped set up for Sunday because people say it doesn't really start until the 10th hole on Sunday if you're in contention. So, what can we do on a day to day basis to observe to make ourselves better? How can we put those into practice, little things at a time? Kind of like I talked about with our drill last week. What can we do to prepare for when things might go wrong or different what if situations might happen in life? And that detail will help us be successful and climb the ladders of success. Lastly, shout out to sponsors, Vitargo Coast Kicking and Eartham Healthcare Services. Couldn't put this on without you, as well as Spotify for podcasters. Appreciate you guys. That is all I have today. Let me know what you think of this episode, and I will catch you next week. Love you. Bye.